Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Sun Tzu says, "The general who thoroughly understands the advantages that accompany variation of tactics knows how to handle his troops." The art of war teaches us not to rely on the likelihood of the enemy's not coming, but on our own readiness to receive him, not on the chance of his not attacking, but rather on the fact that we have made our position unassailable. There are 5 dangerous faults which may affect a general. 1. Recklessness, which leads to destruction. 2. Cowardice, which leads to capture. 3. A hasty temper, which can be provoked by insults. 4. A delicacy of honor, which is sensitive to shame. And 5. Over-solicitude for his men, which exposes him to worry and trouble. These are the 5 besetting sins of a general, ruinous to the conduct of war. When an army is overthrown and its leader slain, the cause will surely be found among these 5 dangerous faults. Let them be a subject of meditation. Good evening, everyone. I'm the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, the master of the deceptive arts, and I return to you once more as the reasoning voice of the vasectomites. Now, where do I begin with today's article, today's edification, today's train of thought, today's thinking? And I guess I have to go back to the beginning and say, if I've told you once, then I must have told you 1,000 times. And today you can make it 1,001. Are you ready to hear it again? Okay, listen closely. Are you listening? Good. Pay for play is illegal. Prostitution, pay for play, is illegal. It is completely out of the question. It is completely out of the question. It doesn't matter if everyone is doing it. It doesn't matter if rich people are doing it. It doesn't matter if famous people are doing it or powerful people are doing it or influential people on podcasts, whatnot. It's still illegal. Pay for play is illegal. Paying someone for intimacy is illegal in like 99% of the land on this planet. There is nowhere you can set your foot where there is dry land and pay for play is legalized. You have to understand that. Why is this such a point of contention with so many knee benders? Especially you dark dimension knee benders, what they call the married men. The men are the problem here. I don't know what you are thinking doing this kind of thing. What outcome exactly are you anticipating by participating in this type of illegality? I mean, really, pay for play. Pay for play. Like, just think about the type of woman that you are associating with that does pay for play, that takes money for this type of activity. I'm not here to say that it's right or it's wrong. I told you I don't care about your morality. What I'm saying is you are dealing with a person who commits crimes and then induces other people to commit crimes. And you think you can trust this person. I mean, really, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? I told you in another video before, a video that you ignored, right? I told you that these things always come back to you. I mean, pay for play is the easiest thing to come back to you. It can come back to you any time at all. You could have done it 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You could have done it in the 90s, and it will still come back to you. You might delude yourself, and this is a common delusion among panderers, pay for pay panderers, right? Because they think that they are exercising some type of discretion. You know, you've heard them say things like, I'm paying for discretion, or I'm paying her to leave and whatnot. This is the height of delusion. You are lying to yourself. You think you're being discreet just because your wife doesn't find out, just because your children or your colleagues don't come out. They don't find out what you're doing. They don't discover. Your lies don't come out to them. But that's exactly what the problem is. So think of it like this, right? This is what I'm talking about, the kind of person that you're dealing with here. Who exactly do you think is going to sue you for pay for play? Just take a moment and think about this. You say you are being discreet, nobody knows, it's just me and her and a financial exchange. Okay, fine. Let's just assume that remains the case. How exactly do you think you are going to end up in the court of law? So who do you think is going to put you there? Do you think it's going to be me, the ancient one? I'm going to come out and then say, oh, I saw Mr. Kneebender over there, participating in pay for play. I have no witness. I have no transaction. Nothing happened to me. I just saw it. I mean, I didn't actually see the deed itself, but I saw her walk into the apartment and walk out. Right? What? No, it's definitely not going to be me, even if I witnessed it. Right? Do you think it's going to be the postman? Do you think the postman saw something? You think the postman is going to call the police? Huh? And have you in the court of law? No, it's not going to be the postman. What about the woodworker? Do you think the woodworker would do it, or the shoemaker? Or could it be the candlestick maker? I assure you, it'll be none of these people. It'll be none of these people. It will be the pay for play provider themselves. In the end, it's going to be the panderer, who you see on the screen, and the pay for play provider who is somewhere enjoying her millions that she made from suing this individual. The person who is going to sue you is the person who actually knows your secret, the one with the proof, the one with the evidence, the one with the transactions on the Cash App and the PayPal and the whatever else that you used to pay her to do what you wanted to do. Because she's the one who actually knows your true secrets, your habits, your proclivities, what you like, and how you like it. As well as the fact that she also knows that you got a job, you got bills, you got responsibilities, you have things that you cherish and value in your life and don't want to lose. You have these things while she, on the other hand, is quickly aging out of her profession of choice and will be very lucky to find a man to marry her and take her in and raise her 4 kids by, well, now it's going to be 5 different men because stepdaddy makes you number 5, even if you don't have kids with her. So she'll have 4 kids with 4 different men, and then you come in to be the stepdaddy, and that makes you daddy number 5 to 4 kids. The numbers work out. This is what's gonna happen. This is what's gonna happen. She's the one who's gonna sue you. And she's not inclined to be relegated into obscurity as she grows older and withers down while you get richer and more prominent, you get promoted in your job and whatnot. While you start shopping for expensive items, you start partying in exclusive clubs, eating in gourmet Michelin star restaurants, traveling to exotic islands, you know? She's not inclined to 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 remain in obscurity while you live it up, while you live the dream and simultaneously break the law. So you expect to do all these things as well as break the law. Eventually, everyone you pay, everyone that sees you living like that, they're gonna see you with the next girl, with the next girl, with the next girl. And then they're gonna say, hey, wait a minute, there's a pattern. Are you dating all these girls or what's going on here? You know when they hit you with that one, are you dating all these girls or what's going on here? And you'll say something like, yeah, we're just cool. We're just cool. We're just friends. Nah, nobody's gonna buy that. Nobody's going to believe that. She knows things about you, right? She knows things about you, and she knows that you don't want to lose those things. And everyone you pay will come for more pay. That's for sure. And if you don't pay them, then what they'll do is come for payback, right? And even if you don't pay her, even if you don't pay her, you will still be facing up to 30 years in prison for your crimes. Just think about that. Even if you refuse to pay her after she has sued you, or even if you do pay her, this is the irony of it all, is that even if you do pay, there is a chance that you still go to prison and get incarcerated anyway. So just remember that. So like you could pay and still lose everything. And they'll give you 30 years in prison. That's the maximum sentence. Now you're a career prisoner. In 15 years from today, you'll be the longest person, the longest serving person in your ward. Just think about that. Just think about that. You'll be running things in prison. You'll know everyone from the security to the warden to the lawyers to the judges to the cops. You'll know the entire system inside out. You'll be able to give young prisoners some advice on how to live and survive in the obscurity that you are now living in. You know, these counterparts will come after you with nothing to gain, just so that they can see you not continue to live the life that they want to live. You know, I have so many thoughts about today's article, which is about the media mogul that you see in front of you. Like I have a million thoughts. But they all bring me down to one question. Like if I could speak to him, which I hope I never do, under the circumstances that he's in, for me, in order to have this conversation, I would need to be in similar circumstances. So no, This is a purely hypothetical situation. I don't ever expect to see this individual not one day in my life. Not now that he's behind them bars. No, thank you. But if I could text him a message anonymously, I would ask him one question. You know, of all the things that I could ask him about, it would all just boil down to one question. Was it worth it? Was it all worth it? And that's one of those things that I ask myself often before I take any type of action, particularly with these counterparts. Professionally, if I want to take any type of risk, I'll ask myself truly, what is this worth? What is doing this action really worth? Let me put down the numbers, right? Let me see what the numbers really say. Okay, so let's say I get back with my ex. What is that worth? Are those numbers gonna work out in my favor? Absolutely not. I'm gonna lose time. I'm gonna lose money. Eventually, I won't be able to make my videos and post them, which is my new thing, and which I can only do because I have the time. You know, if I did, I'd be lying to myself because I made a promise, to stay clear of this kind of thing. However, if I did engage in the romance wars as a vasectomite, practically I'm still staying clear, but it's not the promise that I made to myself. My promise was just to not suffer these fools, not for a single second. You know, but I'd ask him that question: Is it worth it? And I ask myself this question all the time. You know, is it truly worth it? Whatever the action that you're gonna take, is it truly worth it? And it honestly, most of the time, it's absolutely not. Going out at night, going to restaurants, going to nightclubs, going to all these different places, is it worth it in the end? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, I remember a time where I decided to travel over a weekend, right? It was a situation where I went to work on Friday and I had to be back to at work on Monday again. And I thought, man, this is gonna be simple. I'm gonna fly out. I'll book my flight, and whatnot, right? Flight was booked, paid for, everything was organized. It was like, you know, military precision. So this day I had an opportunity to leave work, right? Obviously, the moral of the story is it wasn't worth it, right? It wasn't worth it. It was a silly thing to do. I should have just stayed home and relaxed. But this time, I had an opportunity to leave work early. Everything was sanctioned, signed, sealed. I wasn't doing anything funny. So, I said goodbye to everyone. I got in my car. I drove straight to the airport and I parked my car at the airport. So when I come back, I could just get in the car and go straight home. So I went, I did my thing. It was a fantastic weekend. Then came time to go home, said goodbye to everyone. I took a taxi. It wasn't an Uber. I actually stayed in a hotel and the hotel called the taxi and the taxi took me straight to the airport, right? So got to the airport on time, everything is going great. Go to check in, right? They tell me the flight is delayed. By how long? Well, it's delayed by 3 hours, so you have to catch the next flight. I think I had a flight at 3 o'clock. The next flight was at like 6 o'clock. I was supposed to be home by 5. Now I'm only leaving at 6, so I'll be home, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock. I'll be landing 8, 9 o'clock, but I'll only be home about 9:30, right? So which means I'll only be settled in around 10, right? And I should be already asleep by 10 o'clock. which means I was already late. Come 6 o'clock, I go to check in, and they're like, "There's no seats available on this flight." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "The only seats that are available are on the 10 o'clock flight." They offered me a room in the VIP lounge, and it was comfortable enough for VIP, business class, whatever you call it, right? It was comfortable enough. There was food, there was showers, there were all kinds of things. You could take a nap if you wanted. But this now meant that effectively I would have to get home, sleep for a few hours, wake up, and go to work, right? Ultimately, by the time I got home, it just wasn't worth going to sleep. I slept on the flight. It was like an hour and a half or something, but it just wasn't worth. I got to work exhausted. I never, I mean never, did nothing like that ever again. I never flew nowhere on a weekend. In fact, I will only fly out if I know that I will have like a week after that. So after I return, I want at least a week on the ground, right? Before I have to return to work or something like that. I'm not taking that risk. And it always happens like that, and it's never worth it. When you think, "Man, I'll be in and out, it's going to be fun, it's going to be great," you're going to be delayed. Your flight is going to be delayed. It always is. Or something is going to happen. I honestly think what they did was they just gave my seat to somebody else on the flight. And then as soon as I arrived, they told me that the flight was delayed. I think they did that to a few people. Like there were a few of us that were supposed to, like, when you sort of see people go into the same place complaining about the same thing and then getting the same outcome, and then standing there and you realize, oh, we're all in this together. And all of us realized it wasn't worth it. This is those kinds of situation where you think things are going to really work out well and they don't. It's never worth it. And this is really the eternal battle of mankind, the internal, eternal battle of mankind. And it's not one between good and evil or right and wrong. The real human struggle is between logic and emotion. To do the thing that makes sense, or to do the thing that you believe is going to make you feel good, which ultimately it will not. I don't even remember what I did on that weekend. I just remember the massive inconvenience that I went through with those delays. And I remember never wanting to go through that ever again. You know, the logical thing was just to stay home, get myself ready, prepare, relax, take it easy, get to work on Monday fresh and ready to go. That was the logical thing to do. But I was young. I was young. I decided to go with what I thought was going to feel good. There was a counterpart on the other side, a couple of people waiting for me that were really looking forward to seeing me, and I was looking forward to seeing them. And of course, I haven't seen any of those people in years. The real human struggle is between logic and emotion, sanity and insanity. Logic and rationality is often calm, bland, uneventful, and often nothing to write about. And it is in this void of calmness where real possibility for success can exist. People describe it as cold, but in fact, you're not cold, you're just cool. You're balanced, you know, you're reasonable, you're rational. Whereas emotionality boils and bubbles in random bursts that pop like a million recurring bubbles on the surface of one's mind. It's unstoppable, uncontainable, and eventually you just get to a point where you realize you just can't handle this. Not only is it hard, it's just ungovernable. Right? The cost becomes too high, the burden becomes too high. Common sense, common sense, in other words, logic and rationality return to you. And when you encounter somebody with no common sense, they will look at you and say, why do you see things like this? You know, people will say, oh, let's go to a resort this weekend. And you'll say to them, who's going to pay for that? And they'll say, no, why do you have to be like that? And what does that mean? That means they are not the one that's going to pay for it. You are. Right? When you apply logic to things, you really shut down people's madness. Right? You really take away the hype. And people don't like that. They don't like when you take away their hype. They don't like when you take away their ideas. Oh, let's fly down to the coast right now. And it's like, no, 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 no. You don't just fly out to the coast on a whim. You really have to actually plan this thing out, right? And have a budget for it and all that. And people don't like that. People don't like that. You know, people will allow their emotions, anger, frustration, obsession, pride, ego, vanity, vengefulness, hysteria, all these crazy emotions to control their actions. These are real true emotions too, because when you say things like emotions, people they think of love, sad, happy. No, 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 no. You know, there's ego, there's obsession, there's pride, vanity, all kinds of things that exist in one's mind. This ultimately makes people like this a danger to themselves and a danger to others. People who are emotional, people who cannot control themselves. That's what emotionality means. It means you cannot control yourself. You cannot think logically and see the situation logically. You have to act a fool. You have to perform. If you believe that pay for play is a viable mating strategy, I'm here to tell you, you are completely wrong. You are better off just bending the knee. I'm telling you that right now. You could bend the knee, be in divorce, have alimony and child support and child raising for 21 years, 18 years of child support. Maybe they give you 10 years of alimony. You could survive that, but you're not surviving a full hit of pay for play. You know, when they lock you up for pay for play, they could put you away for 30 years. 30 years. The consequences of pay for play are 30 years. You know, this is not a viable mating strategy, but perhaps I can offer you something different. I can offer you a chance at salvation into the situation that you might be thinking of walking into. There are some people that really like play for the convenience and all that. You, my friend, you need to lose that which you love. If you are going to be a bachelor, you must make a sacrifice to the solitude. You must lose that which you love and make an everlasting exchange between these pay for play providers and your life. It's always between something and you have to choose. Perhaps I might have the strategy for your salvation if you will indulge me for a moment. You could just freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. Just freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. And then reassess the situation from a completely different vantage point. I'm not talking about a position of advantage or a completely different our position of success and wealth and fame. No, 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 no. I'm talking about a completely different vantage point, a different point of view. A point of view where you will be able to think logically and see things clearly for what they are and be able to see what the consequences of these actions are. Unlike the mogul with whom we will read today, of whom we will read today, I deliberately didn't want to discuss any of the particulars of today's article because I wanted the words to reach you in their entirety, in their fullness, as the authors intended them. In truth, I'm also very excited about finding out about exactly what is going on here. You know, just to find out what's there to find out. I'll be honest with you, I haven't really been following this case, not with all the details. I was shocked with it initially when it started, and then the details just became too much for me to keep up with. They weren't too much for me to bear, they just became too much for me to keep up with, all of these lawsuits. The man is facing up to about over 100 lawsuits, you know. So I'm really curious to find out what's gonna go on here and what's the next thing, you know. But one thing that I'm sure about is that there's a lesson here for all of us to learn, and that lesson is very simply that pay for play is 100% illegal. Pay for play is 100% illegal, and really you need to come to accept that. You know, you really need to come to accept that, or risk the chance of finding yourself in this boiling, raging, roaring, boiling bucket of water, and you're trying to swim out of it. Oh, this man's goose is cooked. By the way, I don't think the 4 years that he got is all. I really think it's coming around, man. I really think it's gonna come around. Oh, let's dive into it. Oh, let's do it. Sean Diddy Combs begs judge for mercy ahead of 4 year prison sentence. So we know he's already been sentenced. We're just waiting to find out what comes next. Yeah, man, they gave him 4 solid years. Now, one thing that I don't usually do is current affairs. Not because I'm not interested. Precisely, I mean, there's a lot of divorce news out there that I would love nothing more than to sink my teeth into. And also, there is a lot of vasectomite stories that are out there that I'd also really like to sink my teeth into. But I'm really trying to find a balance. I mean, look, I'm gonna say freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy in every video anyway. So the content in itself isn't really going to change the dynamic of the story, or of at least of this platform. And there's always something to learn from current affairs, and new information. But I suppose I would continue in the current affairs dynamic and angle if I realized that this was what would gain engagement. So if like people are really gonna be like, oh, okay, there's a current event story, so let's have a look at that. But I may have a time, like when I decide, like, on Fridays I'll do current affairs, right? To see how that goes. See how people respond. Or on weekends I may do current affairs to see how people respond. But really, I mean, all I'm gonna say is the same thing over and over: freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, and then go ahead and describe these knee benders and counterparts. Now, you see, this man is a bachelor, Mr. Combs. I don't know much about him, but I do know, since we've already mentioned his name, we may as well continue. I do know that Mr. Combs is an unmarried man. Of course, he has children and he takes care of his kids. He has the money to do so. Or I don't know, 60 or 70 of them. I don't know how many kids this man has, right? But I know that he's a bachelor. And I keep telling you, bachelors out there, if you think they will not make you bend that knee, if you think they will not humble you just because you declared yourself bachelor for life, I mean, this man is already going through 18, 21 years of child raising. I mean, he's been raising kids since the 90s. And he's going to continue to raise kids after this sentence, by the way. He's going to come out of this 4 year sentence and still have to take care of those kids, right? This article was written by Adam, I think it's Adam Rice and Daniel Arkin. And they work for Today. They are, I believe, writers for Today. One of them is a publisher, I'm not sure who. This was published on the 4th of October, which is very, very recent. So this is like as current as it can really get for me. And there's the website www.today.com. So, I mean, I really don't know how much fresher in terms you can get in terms of current affairs. This was, this was published a few hours ago, effectively. And it reads, the hip hop star was sentenced to over 4 years in prison after being convicted this summer on 2 counts of interstate pay for play. There you go. There you go. Pay for play is illegal. I told you. They got a billionaire in for pay for play. It doesn't matter how much money you make, man. No one is above the law, right? Eventually, I mean, you could play games with the law. Everyone does. It's not called practicing the law for nothing, right? You try your luck, and you do your best to stay out of the consequences. But better for you to not put yourself in a situation where you have to try that luck, right? Sean Diddy Combs, the hip hop mogul, convicted on interstate prostitution charges, pay for play charges, begged a federal judge for mercy during a dramatic sentencing hearing, insisting that he has changed for the better. Oh, give me a break. This is why I didn't want to go into this article in my opening monologue, because I knew my monologue was just not going to live up to the sensation. I mean, what are we, 2 sentences in, and I've already got my hands in the air, looking up at the sky, waiting for a sign from the Almighty. He said he has what? Changed for the better. They found thousands of bottles of baby oil in that man's home. How much better could he? I mean, he was filling up the tub with baby oil. That's how much thousands, like, and not a tub, a swimming pool. It must have been a swimming pool or a jacuzzi of oil. You sort of just dip in the jacuzzi and you come out. Because now you gotta put it on and rub it on to people. I'm just guessing that you rub it on to people. But if they just dump it, if you just dunk them in the tub and they come out, then they've got enough all over them. They're fully coated. So I don't know if he's a better man, based on the details that have been coming out. Now, I said I haven't been following the salacious details closely. This isn't the same thing as having those details be completely unavoidable. I mean, you turn on any social media website, it was his crimes plastered everywhere, So we all know what kind of sort of happened, and he admitted it. And that's the thing. But has he changed into a better man? Really, Mr. Combs? Really? It continues. I can't change the past, but I can change the future. Oh my God. This is the kind of thing that gets people into jail. Guys, stop rhyming your words. No risk, no reward. Can't change the past, but I can change the future. You do things like that, you're going to jail. Right? People don't respond to wisecracks like that, man. That's like 90s gangster movie script. Stop talking like that. Talk like a normal person, man. Take yourself seriously, because you're going to say things like that and then they're going to slap you with a 50-month prison sentence. over and above the 3 years that you've already spent. And this is still fighting 100 charges. I don't know, man. Let's see. You can't change the past. You can change the future. Here we go. Future. What future? He thinks he has a future. This guy. He just doesn't get it. Combs told Judge, I'm gonna mispronounce his name, Aaron Subramanian. Oh, maybe not so mispronounced at all. I don't know if it's Arun Subramanian or Aaron Subramanian, but I'm sure he goes by Aaron Subramanian being in the US. If he was in another country, Arun. Absolutely sure about that. I wonder what his mother calls him. She probably calls him Judge. Judge Subramanian inside the U.S. District courthouse in Lower Manhattan just after 4 p.m. ET, or not ET means Eastern Time, Eastern Central Time, something that nonsense. Despite the plea of lenience, Combs was sentenced to over 4 years. 4 years. Of what the judge called hard time. These words, man, these words, they strike at my soul. He's going to have 4 years of hard time in prison. I think the judge means hard time. Before getting the 50-month sentence, Combs apologized to two former girlfriends who accused him of physical and intimate abuse. Cassandra, aka Cassie Ventura, the R&B singer, so-called R&B singer. Oh, wait a minute. After everything that I suppose we may as well call her the R&B singer. They called Mr. Combs the the mogul. They called him a hip hop star, right? A hip hop mogul. So that being said, Miss Ventura could absolutely be called an R&B singer, despite what is alleged. Despite what is alleged. So I'm okay calling Miss, or is it Mrs. Ventura? I know she's a married lady. I don't know. You see, this is what happens when you don't change your name. We don't know if you're Mrs. Ventura or you are Mrs. Kneebender. But I'm gonna call her Mrs. Kneebender because there's a Kneebender on the other side, right? So Cassie aka Cassandra Kneebender, is now an R&B singer who dated him. You know these words. If they describe that as dating, you see, this is now the thing. This is the problem. This is what dating really is. These salacious details from the media mogul and the R&B singer. Yeah, I'm gonna be calling them R&B singers from now on. All these R&B singers out here, they call their experience together dating. Just think about that. That's what dating is. That's what when people say, I'm not into dating, they mean the nasty side of dating, man. You know, the sunshine, the rainbows, the flowers, the candy, the popcorns and the movies, the holding hands and the walks on the beach, that's all good and all. It's the baby oil, man. When your girl was dripping in baby oil. That's just not gonna sit in you. And then she's like, oh, well, we dated. So why you need the baby oil? Do you need all that baby oil to date? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's the baby oil side of the dating that for me, I'm now. I like baby oil. I'm okay with baby oil. Like there are times, there are seasons where you might need some baby oil. There are moments for baby oil. I don't got nothing against baby oil, but when you start dating and you're using baby oil, man, yeah. But anyway, she dated him off and on. off and on, in and out, round and round. Man, these words, you know, Aaron Rice and Daniel Arkin, you gentlemen are very, very gifted. The innuendos and the puns, they just keep rolling, don't they? So they dated off and on for a decade. By the way, this is a married woman. She went through this for a decade. She was baby oiled by Mr. Diddy Combs for a decade and then got married and settled down. This kind of thing will turn your stomach, man. This kind of thing will it'll unsettle me. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not understanding like that. I'm really not an understanding individual, man. Like I know we all did some things that we're not proud of. But I mean, did you really have to swim in a tub of baby oil? You had to go that far. You couldn't just swim in the ocean, man. Anyway, a decade of swimming in a tub of baby oil, and a woman identified in the court under the pseudonym Jane Doe. Counterpart. They should have called her pseudonym Counterpart. Huh? Jane. I dated a Jane once, by the way. Never spoke to her again. I don't want to hear not a word from that one. Let's continue. My actions were disgusting, shameful, and sick. Yes, they were. That baby oil was nasty, Mr. Combs. That baby oil was nasty. Disgusting, shameful, and sick. Now, doesn't this sound like bending the knee? Doesn't he sound like he is on his knees bent? Back straight, knees bent. He continues to say, I was sick from drugs. I was out of control. And I needed help. And I didn't get the help. Give me a break. You have $1 billion. You could pay someone nothing to help you. They would pay you, they would help you deal with your problems just so they could be associated with you. Just so they could say, I was in the team that worked with this individual, the mogul, and we did great work. I can do great work with you too, And people would they would work with you for free just for the association, But yeah, drugs, illicit substances, alcohol, staying up all night, doing the things that you think are going to make you feel good, traveling on the weekend when you know you got work on Monday, when you know fully well that the weekend is not designed for you to party. It's just designed for you to recuperate so you can get back to work, right? But there you were, sick from illicit substances, out of control. This is what most people are. This is what you are when you are emotional. You are out of control. He needed help, but he just didn't seek the help. I lost all my businesses. Oh, yes, he's finished, man. The lawyers took all that money. The lawyers took all that money. This is why I say I'd ask him, man, was it worth it? And I lost my career, a stellar career at that, and destroyed my reputation. And most of all, I lost my self-respect. He lost his self-control. That's what this is all about. This is about, I always say, man, the bachelor life to me was about self-control. It was about not doing the things that you want to do. Not being intimate when you know you shouldn't be intimate, when you don't have no vasectomy, not taking any chances and that kind of thing. It's about sacrifice. It really is about sacrifice. And this man didn't want to control himself. Just think about that. You got billions of dollars, man. Like, just the fear of losing that. Working so hard, not even like putting in the work. Like, you could put in work and not get there. You know, you could absolutely put in the work, do the sacrifice, do the hours, get the degree, do everything right, and never get to your financial goal. Never even be like in the stream, in the path to achieving your financial goals. This man had nailed every goal he ever had. I mean, nailed it. Knocked it out of the park since he was young, ambitious, strong. He nailed it. But what he didn't have was self control. And ultimately, it lost him his self respect. He didn't respect himself, didn't take himself seriously, didn't take his position, his station in life seriously. I mean, this man could have ran. If he had played his part right, he could have ran for president of the United States. From his position of power, the current president of the United States was in a similar position. You know, he had made a lot of money in real estate and other businesses. He had rubbed shoulders. He had built fame. He had show media. He had become a media mogul. He went from media mogul to president of the United States. Seamless transition. Seamless. This man could have done the same. Really could have done the same had he played his card right, you know? And he had the cards. You know, it's like one thing to say, you know, I was dealt a bad hand when I was born. But I bluffed and everybody folded, right? And I took the pot. The next hand that was dealt was stellar. And every hand there since has been blackjack, right? So he did a bluff once, it paid off, but instead of going blackjack all the way, back to back to back, he did another bluff and another bluff and another bluff and another bluff, and eventually, like, his luck ran out. That's the one I'm trying to say. His luck ran out. And now here he is with no self-respect. Combs added, I have been humbled and broken to my core. Man, humbled, and this is a billionaire. I mean, just listen to that. This was a man who would sing songs about the type of opulence that would make kings stay in awe and wonder. Kings. Kings who were like, man, I wish I could party like that. I wish I could do like that, but I can't. I got responsibilities. I got people looking at me. It'll be a scandal. But man, I wish I could do like that. Kings, you know, young princes who would be kings, whose path is like, you know, you're great, you were born great, kid, you're gonna be a king. And he would say, nah, I don't want to be a king. I want to be like a media mogul and live like that. That's what I'm telling you. This man could have been president of the United States, and it would have been a seamless, flawless transition had he played his cards right. He had one good bluff. I'm telling you, in life, we all get one good bluff. I got a chance to pull a hell of a bluff, and I used that to get a vasectomy, right? Everything else prior to that was just putting it together, taking it apart. But you get one good bluff. You get a moment in life that I call the hand of God, right? And he had that. It's the hand of God. The hand of God is the goal that Diego Maradona scored in the World Cup. I think it was like in the 80s or something like that. It was the most blatant handball move in the game of football, or you might call soccer. Like, you know, in football or soccer, touching the ball with your hand is illegal. You could get sent off for doing it. If you touch the ball with your hand or you hit the ball with your hand and it scores a goal, you could get sent off. It's a serious violation. It's against all the rules. He did that in the World Cup in a stadium filled with 50,000 people, 50,000 screaming fans looking down at him. Every camera in the world looking down at him. Every satellite, millions of people around the world looking down at him. And at the exact moment where he raised his hand and hit the ball, the entire universe blinked and nobody saw nothing. And the ball went in and scored the goal. And then, a few days later, Argentina won the World Cup and Lionel Messi became the god of Argentina. Sorry, not Lionel Messi, Diego Maradona became the god of Argentina. Right? Argentina won the World Cup the next day. The closest person to be compared to that moment and Diego Maradona was Lionel Messi. That's the point I wanted to make. Diego Maradona pulled off a sensational bluff. A hell of a fluke. And Diddy got that one time early in his career. And then he did it again. Handball after handball after handball, and eventually he got sent off the field. This is all that happened. You get one of those, man. You get a good one. I got mine. I used it to get a vasectomy. Nobody knows what happened. The whole world blinked. And I came out on the other side, and here I am today, wondering, hey, where did this guy come from? Yeah, I came out of the blink. He was humbled and broken to his core. That man is submissive. These are the words of a submissive man. These are the words that the knee benders say when they come out of divorce. I hate myself right now. Powerful. Man, this article, I'm struggling to get through this article today. I mean, every word just hits home. Listen to this next one. I've been stripped down to nothing. This was a man who lived his life on private jets. Stripped down to absolutely nothing by a counterpart. Before they arrested him, they had that picture of him where he was standing by the beach, just staring. That was the moment that he knew. That was the moment that he knew. He knew. And even now, I don't think it's over. I really don't think it's over like that. I think those 100 cases, remember, in those 100 cases, they don't have to find him guilty for all of them. They only need to find him guilty for one. Just like in this situation, they didn't have to find him guilty on all the charges, just one or two. There you go, 5 years, 4 years down the drain. Not to mention all the time that you've spent. Stripped down to absolutely nothing. And this again is one of the issues that you need to remember about fighting these court cases. You could pay and fight and still lose. How much money did this guy pay to fight hundreds of millions of dollars, hiring the best lawyers, the best investigators? In my opinion, I think he got off. Like, they could have hit him with 30 solid years. 30 solid years. They gave him less than half a decade. I think he pulled off a miracle. I think he pulled off a hell of a miracle. The article continues. He broke down crying as he directly addressed his mother, Janice Combs, who was seated in the courtroom gallery. "You taught me better," he said. They always go back to the advice that they were given. Hey, man, don't do that. You get locked up. Me, I told you today, pay for play is illegal. One day you're going to be saying, hey, the ancient one told me. But his mother taught him better, he said. sobbing, tears, oh, the tears. Oh, I almost forgot about the tears. Oh, so many tears. I would have just come just for the tears. Oh, I can only imagine the tears. Oh, the family, the kids, everyone, so many tears. Oh, he was sobbing like a baby. Huh? And placing his hands on his head. Yeah, you messed up. That is the man of African descent. When he puts his hand on his head, it's one of two things. He really messed up or he missed a chance at scoring a hell of a goal. This man did both. Oh, he really messed up. He raised me better. You know. Combs facing prison time for his convictions on 2 counts of transporting to engage in pay for play. Addressed the packed courtroom nearly 5 hours into a lengthy proceeding that featured impassioned legal arguments and tearful pleas for leniency from 6 of the hip hop mogul's children. Okay, so he's got 6 children. Just tears, man. God wrenching tears all the way around. I mean, can you imagine your children begging the judge for your life? He's my daddy. Oh, come on. You know what I mean? He knew all this. He knew all this going in. He knew what the stakes were. He knew what he was risking. And if he didn't, somebody should have told him the way I'm telling you today. And I keep telling you, pay for play is illegal. You're going to have your whole family crying tears because you wanted to deal with an unscrupulous counterpart. And by the way, where is that counterpart? Nowhere to be found. U.S. government prosecutors, the article continues, who are pushing for a more than 11-year prison sentence, argued that Combs is unrepentant and poses a danger to others because of his years of alleged abuse. Combs' alleged patterns of violence is something that the public must be protected from, Assistant U.S. Attorney Chris Slavic said. They wanted to give him 11 years on 2 counts. They wanted to give him 5 years, 6 years, or 5.5 years apiece, which, quite frankly, is not unheard of and not uncommon. Like, it has been known to happen. Like, there's another mogul, they gave him 30 years because apparently he was dealing with minors, But then, of course, over and above the substance abuse, there's always the case of violence, which I'm against, right? Not because I'm against you exercising your power, it's because when you exercise your power, you're going to go to prison. Absolutely. I mean, just look at this. He's got pay for play, he's got substance abuse, and of course, there's violence, alcohol. What's missing here? What's missing here? What crime hasn't this man committed yet? I mean, we're still going to find out more about this. This is just a tip of the iceberg of things that are still going to happen. Combs' legal team presented their client in starkly different terms. Right, so they paint a different picture. Westmoreland, one of his attorney, Westmoreland. No, what's that, like a compound noun? Like what, you just put these words together? No, man. Anyway, Westmoreland, one of his attorneys, repeatedly fought back tears while praising her client as a barrier-breaking entrepreneur who advocated for social justice and the black community. No mention of the baby O. No mention of the baby O, right? So they got a counterpart to come stand there and start crying. He was crying. The kids were crying. Oh, so many tears. Everyone is crying. I mean, there must have been 50 people crying in that courtroom. Oh, I should have been there. I should have been there, just to sort of like sit there with my somber face. You know when people start crying and they start like snot comes out of their face and they start like hiccuping, you know, that's the moment. That's the moment. I should have just sat there and I would have just sat there and just taken it all in. Just taking it all in and then pull out a box of tissues, and be like, have a tissue. Have two, you know. Oh, now the lawyer's crying. I don't think he needs any more punishment. No, 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 no. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Pay for play is illegal. In my opinion, I'm going to be honest with you. I think he got off really lucky. I think he pulled off a miracle. Under the circumstances, when that counterpart was inseminated and pregnant, all big and heavy, sitting there talking about how terrified she is with the baby. Man, that drama. He must have looked at that situation and thought, man, I'm going down. I'm going down. I would have looked at that situation and thought, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this situation. I don't know how I'm going to pull this off. But now here you got the lawyer saying he doesn't deserve no more punishment. Mark Agnifolo. You made that name up. You made that name up. Mark Anglifolo, you made that name up. The rapper's leading attorney later told the judge, Quincy Brown Combs, whatever happened to just regular names? Whatever happened to like John Smith? Anyway, Quincy Brown Combs. Right, Quincy Brown. Combs' eldest son. Wait a minute. His eldest son doesn't have his name. So that's why I misread it. I thought his name was Quincy Brown Combs. But no, because it would be Combs' son. But no. Quincy Brown is his name, and he is Combs' eldest son. Oh. How many kids? This guy got kids hiding on in the woodwork. Characterized his father as a charged man who has learned a major lesson. Oh, a changed man, I beg your pardon, who has learned a major lesson. I don't think he's changed. I don't think he's changed at all. I think that after some time, the anger is gonna boil over, and there's no telling what he could do. But the best thing he could do for himself is absolutely nothing. But he's not a changed man. He's absolutely not a changed man who has learned his lesson. He just learned the consequences of his actions. This is what people don't realize, right? When you face consequences, everybody says they've learned their lesson. The aim is for you to learn your lesson before the consequences. Once you've had a taste of prison life, which I never want to taste, you then realize that, hey, this is real. This is real. So you come out of there having learned your lesson, but no, you haven't really. You just spent millions trying to fight the opportunity of learning your lesson. No, no, no. The Christian Combs, his third eldest son. Oh, so there's another one in between Quincy Brown Combs and Christian Combs. The Christian Combs asked the judge to please give us grace and please give him mercy. Why do they allow this man to speak? I always asked myself, you see, this is the problem. This is why I can't do current affairs. Eventually, I'm gonna say something that I shouldn't say. This is why I'm scared to do current affairs. I should be terrified to do current affairs because I'm gonna say something that I shouldn't say. Why do they allow these people to speak? I can't change the past, but I can change the future. Please give us grace. Please give us mercy. No. Stop letting these people speak for themselves. Stop letting these people speak for themselves. They should have a representative who is sober-minded, whose reputation is not tarnished represent this family. Not Christian Combs, the one and only Christian Combs. Combs wept, yes, of course he wept, and held his head in his hands as each of his children walked up to the podium to deliver brief testimonials on his behalf. Oh God, they went through each and every one of the kids. They're gonna make a movie about this. You do understand that, right? So this is the thing with like men of this nature, successful men of this nature. So his downfall is one thing for us to behold, but because of the dramatic nature of that downfall, you can be sure that this is the kind of stuff. This is the stuff of cinema, man. This is cinematic. When each of his kids, I mean, can you imagine what Hollywood can do with each of his kids walking up, sobbing, you know, while their father's life hangs in the balance, while their father's entire existence hangs in the balance, right? And you know he's still like facing more cases, you know. Please give us grace. Please give us mercy. No way. No way. No, 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 my friend. You know, this article is astounding. Astounding. In a sweeping indictment filed last year, a federal prosecutor accused Holmes of orchestrating a violent criminal enterprise enforcing women and male escorts to participate in drug fueled intimate encounters known as the freak offs. Yes, I know about the freak offs. I heard a thing or two about those. I'm going to read this again. They describe his existence as a violent criminal enterprise that coerces men and female escorts, paid pay for play providers, in a drug fueled marathon, just back to back to back. A marathon. You know, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about these freak offs. Like, I mean, surely you must have known that you were going to pay for this somehow. I've exhaled so much in this article, and you know, I'm just taking the nuances. I'm not dealing with the details themselves. Like, I can only imagine what this marathon of intimate encounters known as freak offs. I can only imagine what it smelled like. I can only imagine the smell. He pleaded not guilty and denied wrongdoing. Well, so much for that. Combs was convicted on the prostitution charges on July 2nd at the conclusion of a 7-week criminal trial this summer. 7 week, yeah, that's a whole TV series. We can expect a movie and a series and a documentary. I mean, he's gonna write a book. Can you imagine that book? Can you imagine that book? 7-week criminal trial over the summer. The jury acquitted him on 2 more serious charges. Whew. Yeah, it could have been so much worse. Like, honestly, I thought he pulled off a miracle. I thought this could have been so much worse. I think he could have gotten the book, man, thrown right at him. 1 count of racketeering, conspiracy, and 2 counts of intimate trafficking. Combs's lawyer argued that their client never led any criminal scheme and asserted that his accusers, including his ex-girlfriend, Mrs. Cassie or Cassandra Cassie Niebender, aka Ventura, and a woman pseudonymously, I had to get that right, identified as Maya. Wait a minute. What happened to Jane? I thought they were gonna bring back Jane. So we got Jane, we got Cassie, and then we got Maya. All of them suing him. Man, who's Maya now? Let's continue with confidence. So Maya willingly participated in the rapper's choreographed freak off. Okay, so she willingly participated. So why is she now? Well, now she's unparticipating, right? Now she's unparticipating. Years later, this is what I'm trying to explain to you. This is what I'm trying to explain to you with pay for play. The person could be willing, a willing participant in the pay for play, and you still go down for pay for play. That's the problem. Like it's a victimless crime. That's the problem with pay for play. It's a victimless crime. She wanted it, you wanted it, she wanted the money, she wanted you wanted, you didn't mind about the money, you wanted her, the two of you made it happen, no hard feelings, it was all good. Now you're facing 50 months. It's a victimless crime, but it's still a crime. But it's still a crime, you know. And now, there's Maya saying she did it, but she didn't do it. But she did it, but she didn't do it. You know, she gets to go home. Maya gets to go home. She gets to take the money and the freaks, and then go home. You pay the money, you get some of the freaks, and then you go to jail. Man, why would you take this deal? Does this make logical sense to you? Does pay for play make logical sense to you under these circumstances? Keep the end in mind. Keep the end in mind. In a letter to Subramanian, this is Judge Subramanian, submitted before the sentencing hearing, Combs apologized and expressed how sincerely sorry I am for all of the hurt and pain that I have caused. I lost my way. I got lost in my journey, lost in the drugs and the access. My downfall was rooted in my selfishness. Not really. It was his lack of selfishness. It was his desire to prove his prowess to the entire world. It was his desire to prove his success and prowess to the entire world that ultimately was his undoing. If you were selfish, truly living for yourself, you'd live a life of secrecy as I do. You'd live in the shadows, man. You know, only coming out to, to give those critical details that we all need to know. Freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, you know? But now he's saying he was selfish. I don't think so. I don't think you were thinking about yourself at all. I think he was trying to impress people. He was trying to be cool, right? He was trying to impress others. Combs wrote in a letter dated Thursday, please excuse me. The letter marked the first time Combs, who did not testify in his own defense, directly addressed Judge Subramanian at length. Judge Subramanian denied bail for Combs after jurors delivered their mixed verdict. The Grammy-winning rapper has been in custody at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, where he will seemingly remain until further notice. What a staggering article. What a staggering article because of the magnitude and the nature of the man that we know, that we have come to know. He said he would never stop. Well, here we are today. Here we are today. Now, there are some of you who are thinking that you won't stop either, that you can keep going without having to switch or change direction or find a new plan. I'm here to tell you that I think it's time for you to find a new plan. Or just go back to the old ways, man. Just go back to dating. Just go back to paying for dates and experiences and all kinds of things. You know? Now me, I never said don't date. there's people that's gonna say, "Oh, but ancient one, you're against dating." No, no, I'm against dating. For me, I made myself a promise. I know full and damn well that you are never gonna stop dating, no matter what I say. But I might be able to convince you to do it sensibly. I might be able to convince you to go ahead and speak to your urologist to freeze your sperm and get your vasectomy. That way, you can date with some tact. You can date with some understanding, some perspective, and you can say, you know what, there are things that I don't really need in this world. The problem with knee benders is that there's always, again, like I said, there's always the possibility of insemination. So it's really a case of, this counterpart, she could have just as easily been inseminated with his child. Just as easily been inseminated with his child. And so rather than facing 4 years, he could easily be facing 18 years of child support, you know, 21 years of child raising, just paying and paying and paying. He just got 4 years. Honestly, under the circumstances, I really honestly think he got off. When you consider the fact that he did do the crimes and he is in fact guilty and he admitted to guilt, right? And, he got caught out and now he's doing the time. I thought the judge was already being sympathetic. I honestly thought the judge was truly, truly sympathetic. I think the judge could have gone way harder. I honestly think the judge could have gone much, much harder and made things much, much more difficult for him. But the judge was balanced and well tempered and obviously well versed in the law, and I think he made the right decision. I think he absolutely made the right decision. Now we'll see how other things play out. He could have easily got 12. Oh, he could have easily got 12. you know. But his lawyers, they fought hard, they negotiated hard, they played it smart. One thing they didn't do was disrespect the judge. You never want to disrespect the judge, anything like that. So I think he really pulled it off. I think he got off really light in the end. Under the circumstances, man, he could have got 30 years straight. 50 years old, you could have seen your first freedom at 80. And mind you, they were going to keep you alive. If you think, if you think that you're going to go to prison and meet your demise, I'm here to tell you you're not. I'm here to tell you that you are going to serve every single moment. I mean, every single moment of that sentence. They will keep you on a drip in the hospital, comatose forever, just to make sure that you execute that objective, which is to see you serve time in prison. Pay for play is not a joke. It is not a joke, and it's not something where I'm going to be flexible on. You know what I mean? When the laws change, we can discuss it. We can discuss what are the risks, what are not the risks. But it only takes one counterpart to come out and say, okay, these are the circumstances. This happened, and I want this. And you know what? You'll pay. I promise you, you'll pay whatever that counterpart says. And they'll keep coming back for more and more and more. And eventually, you're just going to decide, you know what? I'm going to stand up and fight. And that is going to be your biggest mistake. Because you're going to lose. You are not a media mogul. You see, this guy is a media mogul. He's got that money. You're going down. You are going down. So think wisely. Be smart. Be careful. I will consider doing more current affairs, but it would have to be something astronomical, such as this. It would have to be astronomical, such as this. This is truly an epic downfall of an epic man, and it is worthy of an epic review. And we are going to get so much more from this. This is only the beginning. I assure you of that. There's so much more to come from this situation. You know, he still has 100 more cases and he's running out of money. He's going to be in the big house for half a decade, fighting 100 legal cases, not making no money. I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. You know, so my advice is to you, just freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, and just avoid pay for play as a whole. Just stay away from all that, man. Freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, and live your own life. This is the limit that I have for myself. I have this life. This is the limitation. One life, I gotta live it. And then I gotta take, risks. I gotta see, what is the risk, what is the reward, what do I stand to lose, what does the law say? In all your encounters, just ask yourself, what does the law say? Whatever the law says, don't do it. Forget morality, man. Forget morality. Like, I'll tell you something. The law says it's absolutely fine to lie to your wife. The law says it's absolutely fine to cheat on your wife. Right? The law, I mean, you could have an affair and still remain married and face no consequences legally or otherwise. That's absolutely possible. You know? You could go to the judge and tell the judge, my wife cheated on me, and nothing will happen. My wife lied to me 10 years ago. Nothing will happen. So if she can lie, so can you. You know, there's a reason. There's a reason why counterparts haven't taken anyone to jail, haven't taken anyone to court, or haven't sued anyone for lying. Not one. And if that was possible, I assure you I would be behind bars right now. Because no one has deceived these counterparts. I mean, I made an entire life about deceiving these counterparts, you know? And I say you can go ahead and do it. Go ahead and lie to these counterparts. You're not breaking the law. But before you do, freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy so that way you can act with absolute confidence. This is the end of the video, and I want to thank you for your time, your attention, your patience. I appreciate it, and I always will. If you have enjoyed this comment, this is my new outro, by the way. I like it. I like it. Let me do it properly. If you have enjoyed this content, please go ahead and like the video and indicate support for the channel. What's the next thing? Oh, yes. Like, share, whatnot. Please share this video with somebody who thinks they can pull off and get away with pay for play. You're all going to go to jail. Don't say I never told you. Right? Share it to somebody. Just at least you could say to them that they're going to go to jail. Because they are. You know. And you're going to get 30 years. You don't have millions and hundreds of millions to fight the case. You don't have $1 billion. You're going to jail, bro. You're absolutely going to jail. And I, for one, am not going to feel pity for you. Because I'm going to be standing here saying, I told you. I'm going to be standing here saying, I told you. Pay for play? Nah, you got to let that go. You got to let that go. Also, leave a comment to remain part of the conversation. If you do, I promise you I will respond to you swiftly and promptly if I can. Otherwise, thank you for your time and your attention once more. I appreciate it. Please freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, protect yourself, protect your seed, protect your solitude. I'm the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, and I'd like to say to you, have a wonderful, wonderful day.